Hey there, welcome to Vox Populix. I'm Paula, and today's episode is about ways to improve our vocabulary. I always get the same comments from my students. Paula, I understand everything that you say. I understand everything when I watch movies or listen to music. But when I want to speak, I get stuck. I don't know how to say certain things. I lack vocabulary. The first mistake that we make when this happens is trying to memorize endless lists of vocabulary that we forget the next day. I'm not saying that this is completely wrong. It might work for some people. But what I found is that this method helps us to become familiar with new vocabulary. But it doesn't allow us to use it. And there is a huge difference between being familiar with a word and being able to use it. A word is part of your vocabulary only when you can use it accurately. So, based on that idea, my first tip is to keep track of all those words that you already know but you never use. As simple as that. Every time that you read or you hear a word that you already know but you never use, write it down in a notebook, on your phone, wherever suits you. Read this word every day and try to use it as much as you can. This is the first and easiest step to improve your vocabulary because you already know these words. You just need to make them part of your vocabulary. Second, look for synonyms. Again, we are going to be working with words that we know, that we are familiar with. Imagine that this is your vocabulary bubble. Inside this bubble, there is all the vocabulary that you know and you use. But this bubble is inside a bigger bubble, which contains all those words that you know but you never use. And then outside you have all these words that you don't know. If you keep learning random vocabulary, you are going to expand the bubble which contains all those words that you know, you are familiar with, but you never use. And if you really want to improve your vocabulary, this is the bubble you need to work on. This is the bubble you need to expand, your vocabulary bubble. So look for synonyms of those words that you say a lot. For example, I'm happy. Instead of saying I'm happy all the time, you can say I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon. Another word that you should stop using is the word very. I know, I've been there. We learned this amazing word that is short, is easy to remember, and it's magical. We can use it everywhere. The problem with this word is that it's stopping you from using and learning better vocabulary, words that actually mean something. So instead of saying very happy, you can say jubilant. Instead of saying very small, you can say tiny. Instead of saying very cold, you can say freezing. You will sound so much better. Third, look up for words in the dictionary or just Google them. I'm not sure if this happens to everybody, but sometimes I wonder how to say some things. Like, how do you say when you are angry, but not just angry, when you are like, ah? Google it. Or what's the name of that thing that's on the bike? Look it up. Take advantage of these moments and learn new vocabulary. Fourth, reading. Reading is the best way to expose yourself to old and new vocabulary. The good thing about reading is that you're going to come across the same word several times. So basically, you're going to pick up new vocabulary almost effortless. Now, how do we remember these words? And more importantly, how do we start using them? So far, we have been collecting words, the ones that we knew but we didn't use, the new synonyms, and the new words that we didn't know. There are 4 missing steps that will help you start using this vocabulary. First, you need to build muscle memory. So you write down the word, you Google how to pronounce blah blah blah, and then repeat. You need to repeat the word several times. How many times? At least 30 times. Second, observe. Pay attention to how the word is used in context and study different examples. Third, create your examples using the new word. And last, consciously use as many times as you can the new word. For example, you already know how to say I'm tired, but you have learned that you can also say I'm exhausted. So next time, use the new word instead of the old word, and then both of them are going to be available in your vocabulary bubble. And that's all for today's session. If you have any questions or doubts, or you just want to let me know if these tips have helped you, please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. I hope that you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye!